Hey everyone, today I want to talk about dealing with passive aggressive people. It can be frustrating, but there are some techniques that can help you. Stay calm and composed. Try not to feed into the passive aggressiveness they are pushing onto you and try not to react to it. That puts the control and power in your own court by not reacting to somebody else. Sometimes these people are manipulative and they want to get a reaction from you. So if you stay calm, then you have the best chance of overcoming the situation. You can address the behavior, not necessarily the person. Focus on the specific behavior that's bothering you. You can say, it frustrates me, or I'm frustrated when. Try to say things like that as opposed to you frustrate me when, because that means they're just going to be put right on the defensive. And then you have no chance at all of rectifying the situation. Communicate clearly. Be clear and direct in your communication. Aggressive individuals often rely on body language. Ask for clarifications if what they're saying is unclear and ambiguous, and set boundaries. You don't have to tolerate being treated this way. You can call it out in a gentle way, but yet direct. Know what your boundaries are before you even talk to this person. If you know that they're passive aggressive up front, have some tools and phrases so that you don't have to try to come up with them in the moment. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm with passive aggressive people, I sometimes just don't want a confrontation, so I tend to back away and I don't really address it or say anything. But then I have noticed that this behavior will get worse unless you call it out. And like I said before, call it out in a gentle but direct way. Avoid playing their game. Passive aggressive people love to draw you into that game manipulation. In it they're not always aware that they're being passive aggressive, but a lot of times they do know, or a lot of times they're specifically trying to manipulate you and draw you in, aggravate you, and frustrate you. It's a control game. That's what it really comes down to. It's all about power and control. So do not give your control away to these people. You can seek their feedback, ask questions. Well, what did you mean by that? Or did you mean this by what you said? Call them out in an indirect but direct way. By asking questions, it's really difficult to put people on the defensive as opposed to attacking them. I know sometimes you just want to grab them and say, "Stop doing that." But please don't do that. Use active listening skills. Pay attention to what the person's trying to say. Again, ask questions to verify if that is actually what they're saying. And oftentimes, if they're making the little digs that are supposed to be disguised as compliments, but they're not really, you can call those out and say, "Did you mean that you don't like the way I'm doing this?" If you call it out like that, there's not a bunch of wiggle room. They can't really get away when you actually point it out. But then again, you're not being confrontational. You're asking a question. Again, not using the you word, but using the I word. So be patient. You can also offer constructive solutions if you're dealing with somebody that requires this level of communication. Try to refocus the passive aggressiveness to problem solving techniques and try to come up with a solid solution that would be a win win situation for both of you. I had this happen the other day. This person, I'll just say that I was married to him, and we always had this one topic that was volatile, and that was 15 years ago. Funny, but we ended up in the car together because we had to drive somewhere to pick up a mini refrigerator for our son who is in college now. He needed to actually do the labor and pick up the refrigerator. I was involved because I did all the research and decided where we were going to go, what refrigerator we were going to buy. So it was a team effort until we got in the car and this old came back up and he started yelling at me because I gently called him out on it and he didn't like it. But I kept my voice positive, calm, and lower, just even keel. And he started screaming at me. In the olden days, I probably just would have retreated and thought I was being attacked by him, which I was. in some ways. I would have thought I was the victim, but I am out of that mentality. I was actually able to step outside my mindset and think, hey, this is a really good opportunity for me to heal and for me to address this issue. I'm the one driving. I very calmly said, stop yelling at me. He continued to raise his voice and yell. I said it a little bit louder so he could hear it, but I was not yelling and I was still calm. I said, stop yelling at me. And he stopped what he was doing. And he says, well, I'm not enjoying being in the car. I wish I wouldn't have agreed to do this. I said, I'm not enjoying it either, but here we are. It was a really big moment for me because he had been a bully to some extent in my life. And I was able to have the skills enough to correct it right there on the spot and then correct it again and then correct it again. And he backed away. By the end of this whole thing, I looked at him and I said, good job. Oh, I actually used his name. Good job, blah, blah, blah. And he just said, good job. I said, good job, Lori, because I don't need his validation at all. But I also didn't want him to diminish me or be emotionally unavailable toward me by excluding my name and being distant. So I just put my name in there and laughed. I said it in a joking way. He laughed. And then at the end, it was a completely different scenario than we were driving in the car. It was just such an empowering moment. When I got home, I could have played the victim role. I could have stepped into that role like I had done before, but I was able to stop it in its tracks and I was able to stop his passive aggressiveness. I was able to save the situation, not like I was trying to save it in a needy or a codependent way, but I was trying to do it for myself. It was a healing moment and I really didn't care if he got mad. I didn't really care what his behavior was. I just stayed calm and I just didn't react either way because his behavior is on him. My behavior, my responses are on me. Same goes with you. How you respond to the passive aggressive person is on you. You don't to tolerate it, but the way you put your boundaries down and set them does matter. It matters a lot. If you're in a situation where you're not able to do that, let's say you're in the middle of a divorce, you might have to get some kind of mediator involved because the last thing you need to do is really get yourself involved in a volatile situation. Had he been driving, my ex husband has actually exploded while he was driving. I don't know if it was out of anger or being in control, but he would push on the accelerator and drive a little erratically just to get a rise out of me. It was really much safer situation that I was the one driving when I actually addressed this. It probably would have been better if either one of us had been driving, but I stayed really calm and cool and collected. So that turned out really well. Also, evaluate this relationship. If you're at work, you might need to get your boss's boss or your if it is your boss, you might need to get somebody to help you mediate. However, I have personally learned because I had an awful boss who was extremely passive aggressive and played all kinds of games. When I did go to her boss and just explain my difficulty with this person, it did not turn out really well for me. The person that the blame got shifted to because she was going behind my back and saying things to her about me that I don't know what she was saying, but it they weren't true because I was doing my best to tolerate my bad situation. I'm sure she was trying to make herself look good. She had closer access to that person. So I'm not sure going to HR or going to a boss's boss is actually a good thing. This was a difficult subject, but trying to learn how to manage her or deal with the boss in a way of being able to set your boundaries in a pleasant way, but it might just come to that it's time for you to find another job because I refuse to work like that. I refuse to be in that negative environment anymore. I tolerated that. It was really a year, but 6 months of it, I had made my mind up. I was done dealing with this. I would just go eat in the break room or I would go for a walk on my lunch. I would just try to avoid her whenever possible She would sometimes seek me out or hide behind doors and spy on me, but whatever, I have better things to do than to give my energy to somebody like that. Eventually, I decided to quit and write full time. Being an author is my full time creative passion that I love. I also loved what I did in healthcare with this boss, but I just didn't like that particular situation. I can say that now that I quit my job and I am working from home, I absolutely love it because I am not making money for some corporation where I'm not appreciated. I am making money for me, for my family, and my stress level has gone down exponentially. It has been a game changer. If I can possibly never have to work in a corporate office or position again, I would love that. So that is my goal. So sometimes getting out of the situation with a passive aggressive person is a better situation for you because it comes down to it's about your emotional health, it's about your stress level. Nobody's going to come in and save you. Nobody's going to fix the situation unless you can find a way to fix it. I have tried and I haven't really had successful luck in that in the corporate world. However, with friends and people like that, or even family, oftentimes you can set boundaries and they'll respect it. It might take a lot of practice and there might be some blowups on their end, but just hold strong. If people are starting to behave passive aggressively, then it's just a good time to maybe step back a little bit, give them some space, give yourself some space, recuperate, and I believe that they will get the message that their behavior is not acceptable for you. And you may just have to tell them that. I have a hard time being more confrontational, which is something I'm trying to work on because I tend to avoid it and then it gets worse, like I said before. So you do what works for you, but you don't have to live like that. Just remember, you can't change the behavior of other people. They are not going to change unless they want to change. So if you're in a romantic relationship, you just have to know that this is the person you have. Do you see yourself with this person in 5 years? Do you see yourself with this person tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, years from if nothing changes, are you okay? Because you cannot change them. They are not going to change. It would require extensive counseling, probably on both of your parts, to be able to change the situation. I don't like to just yank the rug and give up. I give people a lot of chances. I will actually set boundaries and I will give them opportunities to fix how they're treating me because I have self-esteem. I have self-worth. I've worked on that for 12 years. I am not about to let some person treat me badly and try to take that away from me because they have control issues. I'm not going to do that. I hope you don't. And I hope that this video has helped somebody out there because I felt called to record this video. It just came to me. I was going to do a video on something else and I said, "No, I need to do this." I have nothing currently going on in my life with passive aggressive people. So I have no idea why I felt drawn to this. I hope that this topic helps you in some way. And as always, please like and subscribe and please comment how this might have helped you or if it did help you at all. I would appreciate it because I love reading your comments. And until next time.